Hey y'all, so in today's video I'm going to be diving into my scrapwood pile for a bunch of pieces to make a medium-sized thin blue line flag. So I've been working on a ton of projects lately, so I have a lot of scrap left over, so it's a perfect way to use up all that extra scrap without having to go burn it or throw it out. So what I'm looking for is a piece wide enough for the union, a couple long pieces over 25 inches, and a couple pieces over 15 inches for the short stripes. I started by going over to my table saw and setting it to a 1-inch width, which is going to be the width for the stripes. For the short stripes of the flag, I need to have 7 15-inch long pieces. For the long stripes of the flag, they need to be 25 inches long, and we need 6 pieces. The overall dimensions of this flag is 13 inches wide by 25 inches long. So you can see here I have all the pieces cut for my small stripes and all my large stripes, and this is all the leftover scrap I have. I'm taking them over to the miter where I'm going to cut their lengths. I'm starting with the long stripes, which again have to be 25 inches long, and we're going to cut 6 total pieces. To get the same size cut on the stripes, I just put the initial cut piece over top of the next piece, line it up on the miter, and cut down. This helps quicken the pace of the project instead of measuring every piece, and it helps ensure that each piece is the same length. You could also set up a stop block for this, but you'd have to move it for the 15-inch and the 25-inch lengths, so that's why I do this method. Once I have all the stripes cut to length, I laid them out on the workbench, and then it's time to start on the union. I line all the stripes up, and then I use a clamp to clamp them together so it gives me an accurate size of the width of the flag. Once it's clamped, I'll go ahead and take the measurement for the union by marking the top and the side of the stripes and where they meet on the union. Again, you can make these measurements with just a tape measure or ruler, but I find this process to be a little bit easier and a little more accurate. The union itself is going to be right around 7-inch by 10-inch, and I use the miter to cut this. I find it just a little bit quicker than setting up the table saw, but you can do either or. Just to make sure everything fits, I reclamp the stripes and put the union back on. I like to add a lot of character to the flag itself, so I'll take the stripes and the union over to the routing table and hit all the edges with a round over. Each stripe has a different grain pattern to it, so I always separate them to see what I like better, to what color I'm going to use. Anything with too many imperfections, I'll use the darker colors. For this flag, I'm going to be using a flat black spray paint by Krylon. A lot of times I'll use a black stain, but I want a real crisp black look and not a rustic look, so that's why I'm going to be spray painting it. And I usually do about 2 coats. For the blue, I'm going to be using a sapphire color by Rust-Oleum, and for the white, I'll be using a flat white. Now, it all depends what color blue you want on your thin blue line flag. I think the sapphire turns out really nice. I'm going to be having the stars match the white stripes so I can have a crisp white color on it. So I'm going to be painting them on instead of engraving them. There's plenty of ways to do the stars. I think this is one of the easiest ways. And again, I'm using a flat white color. Now that everything is painted and dried, it's time to go ahead and glue it all up. A lot of times with the smaller flags, I'll just put the braces on the back and nail them in. But for this one, we're going to be doing a full glue up, and I'm using Titebond 2 wood glue. I bring it over to my clamping table with my wooden flag jig, and I line all the stripes up on its side, which is where I'll be placing the glue. Now I like to place the glue right on the bottom edge of it so that you don't see any too much glue squeeze out coming through onto the top, so it saves your workpiece a little bit. One of the keys to doing a full flag glue up is to not put too much clamping pressure onto the flag itself, or you could see a little bit of a bow. One way that I help prevent the bow is to use these braces on the wooden flag jig. It does help by pushing the flag down as you add the pressure, but you still have to be aware that if you put too much on, it will bow the flag. If you're looking for a hot selling product to sell at maybe a fair or maybe a craft show or something like that, these flags are perfect. They go really quick. I've actually sold a lot more of the thin blue line flags than I have the rustic flags at the fairs that I do, but it could just be the area that I'm in. So once all your clamps are on, you just let it sit for a couple of hours. I usually do this at nighttime and let it glue up while I sleep. So now I'm going to add the braces. Again, with a full flag glue up, you probably don't need to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway to help keep it straight. I use a couple more pieces of scrap wood, and I measure the width of the flag, cut 4 pieces down, making sure that one of them is wide enough to match the union and the stripes together. I then use Titebond 2, a couple strips of that onto the back of the braces. I'll flip them over and then use 1-inch 18 gauge brad nails to hold them in place. I'm using the 1-inch brad nails instead of the 1.25-inch brad nails because the braces that I'm using are only a 1/2 inch thick, so I want to make sure that it's not going to go through the front of the flag. Once the braces are on, now we're ready to add the final touches. For the finish coat, I like to use the Minwax Polycrylic in the clear satin. After letting the polycrylic settle for a couple hours, you have a totally finished scrapwood project that'll definitely sell at any fair or craft show you attend. Hey, if you like this video, go and hit that like button for me, and if you want to see more like it in the future, hit subscribe.